Hi, I'm Willie with H5 Technology and welcome to my channel. Thank you for being here. And tonight we are going to talk about the EdgeRouter 4. Ooh, yeah, everybody wants to know about the EdgeRouter 4. Before we get to this, there's a couple little things. I want to say hi to Charlie. He is our Discord channel admin. And if you want to join us on Discord and chat with us, you can follow that link down in the description. Also, I am starting a weekly newsletter, and you can go to http://h5llc.com. That will automatically redirect you to our longer URL, but on the front page there is an option to sign up for the newsletter. So that newsletter is going to come out on Sundays, and some of the content that's going to be available in the newsletter is not going to be anywhere else. It's not going to be on Twitter. It's not going to be Instagram. It's not going to be on YouTube. You know, I'm starting the newsletter in case this YouTube thing ever goes away. I want to keep in touch with everybody. So once again, you can go to http://h5llc.com. I'll put that down in the description. That is the H5 Technology website. You can sign up for our newsletter. You can contact us for consulting. You can take a look at some of the services that we offer. So, the EdgeRouter 4. Let's talk about this guy. Okay, so this is the EdgeRouter 4. This is what the box looks like when it shows up. And on the back, you can see that they have UNMS. You can see what appears to be a 1U, and we're going to talk about this, what that actually is. That is the router plus an accessory. So in the box, I'll show you what you get. And we're not going to measure this. People made it very clear that they did not want to see the measuring device anymore. So, in the box, you get the EdgeRouter 4. And with the EdgeRouter 4, you have the console port, a USB 3. You can tell it's USB 3 because it's blue. You have ETH 0, 1, 2, and 3, and ETH 3 is an SFP, not an SFP plus, just an SFP port. Over here, this is your power light and your status light, and you get this nice logo here. And then, of course, you have your status LEDs, and if you haven't seen the new LEDs on these, they are blue, and they are fantastic looking. And then, of course, all the way over here, you have the reset button. Now, there are 3 mounting options for the EdgeRouter. If you look at the bottom, first you can see that it's got these slots for screws, so you can mount this guy on the wall. And then it also comes with the rubber feet already on it, so you can just set it on a desktop. And then on the side, it has these mounting holes. And the mounting holes are for another accessory that you can get for the EdgeRouter, and we're going to look at that real quick, and that is the 1U rack mount device, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. So this is the box that the EdgeRouter 4, EdgeRouter 6 1U mount bracket comes in. It's a brown box. It's very discreet for delivery to your address. And so let's open this guy up and take a look at the mounting options here. Alright, so I cut the tape there. I didn't think that you would want to see that. And inside here we have this 1U mounting apparatus. And it's packed pretty well. And so what happens is the EdgeRouter slides in here, and then you put the screws in it. And so after you do that, you've got this pretty cool looking rack mounted EdgeRouter 4. This will also work with the EdgeRouter 6. So you can look for these. I'm sure that these will be widely available at some point. Now back to the EdgeRouter 4. You can see the EdgeRouter 4 silkscreen logo. You've got, you know, your QR code, your MAC address, serial number. So what else is in the box? They the one thing, I don't know if you noticed, but the power adapter is a full size. You know, there's no little barrel connector. It's a full size standard like computer power plug. And the one that they send with it, inside the box, by the way, here's the quick start guide. But here is the power adapter. And the one thing that I like about this is that they ship it with this power adapter that's got a 90 degree on it, and I really like that. And then we also have all of the accessories that we need to mount this in a rack or on the wall. There's that, and then of course here are the little screws to mount that in the rack mount appliance. So now what we're going to do is we are going to power this up. We're going to plug the computer into ETH0. We're going to put a static IP on the machine because it is just like any other EdgeRouter when it comes to the setup. So we are going to go through a basic setup on this guy and get it set up to be my daily driver. And I will be right back. Okay, so behind me I have the EdgeRouter 4, and you can see that pretty blue light. That's what I was talking about, the blue light. Then on ETH0, you can see it's green and it's blinking with activity. This is my PC that is plugged into ETH0, so let's go ahead and set a static address on that. Alright, so we are in our network connections settings, and we are going to pull up the Ethernet properties here. We're going to go to IP version 4. Oh, and I already had a static set on here. So 192.168.1.2 is what we're going to use. I'm not going to set a gateway, and 255.255.255.0 is the subnet mask. So that's good. We would click OK there, and now we're going to go over and we're going to load the interface of the router in Chrome. Okay, so the default interface or default IP is 192.168.1.1. If you get the not secure message, you can type bad idea on the keyboard, or you can click advance and then proceed. And we are going to log in with UBNT. And the first thing we're going to get is a message that says the router is in default config. Do you want to start with the basic setup wizard? Why not? So we're going to go ahead and click yes there. And it's going to ask us what we want our internet port to be. And using the wizard, the internet port can either be ETH0 or it can be ETH3, which is that SFP port. So it can be either of those. Now, if you configure this manually, obviously you're going to be able to choose any of those ports that you want. But we are going to use ETH0. We are going to enable the default firewall. Anytime you set up an EdgeRouter, it is a fantastic idea to use the default firewall. It is very tight and very secure by default. I highly recommend it. And then take a look at the firewall and see how Ubiquiti configured it, and you can start to learn those rules. You can go back through my videos, take a look at the WAN in, LAN in, WAN local rules, and learn a little bit more about the firewall rules. Now what we're going to do is we are not going to do bridging, because when we do bridging, that causes some performance. You know what? I guess we could try bridging. So we'll try it. So what that's going to do is that's going to bridge Ethernet 1 and 2. But if you're going to do this, be aware that the EdgeRouter 4 does not have what we call a switch chip. I call it a switch chip because I am appealing to the mass, you know, as a piece of hardware that is dedicated to handle the switching. Some people get upset because we don't call it an SoC, which is what it is, but it is a switch chip. You know what I'm talking about when I say switch chip. that handles all of that. So there is a software penalty for that because it is done in the software. We're going to go ahead and so just be aware. If you're going to do that, you are going to have a performance impact. But we're going to change this to 66.1, and we are going to create a new admin user with a new password, and we're going to go ahead and apply this, and we're going to say apply changes, and now we have to reboot, so we're going to go ahead and click reboot, and it's going to say, are you sure? And we're going to say, yes, we're sure. So now what's going to happen is the system's going to reboot and it's going to apply that configuration. So what I need to do real quick is I need to plug my internet into ETH0, and then I need to plug anything else into these 2 LAN ports that I have. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to move the router, I'm going to plug it in, and I will be right back. Okay, so at this point I have moved the router over to where it needs to be. You can kind of see it over my shoulder. You can see the Synology that I took out as my daily driver. So now what we're going to do is we're going to change my Ethernet back to DHCP, and we're going to log into the router, and we'll check out this version 1.10 software and check the router out a little bit more, and then we'll start using it every day. So we're going to go back to our settings and change this to DHCP, which I'm actually going to have to change the DHCP pool because I need the DHCP, I need the DNS pointed to my internal server. So it looks like we may have an IP, possibly. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go here, we're going to go 66.1, and so now we get the connection is not private. We type bad idea, and it looks like we are going to be able to get in here. So yeah, and so it looks like we got a WAN IP. That's excellent. So a little bit about the EdgeRouter is that it does have a 4-core 1 GHz MIPS 64 processor. All of the ports are gigabit. It does have that SFP port. Now, if we go out to Ubiquiti's site, they have a really nice spreadsheet that compares the routers. So I'm going to load that up here. So if you go over to Ubiquiti's website, go to Products, go to EdgeMax, and select any EdgeRouter, you're going to be able to get to this. And yet, you know I love the EdgeRouter X. The EdgeRouter X is probably my favorite EdgeRouter right now. But the 4 and the 6 may overtake that. Although we've got to get something else that has an SoC or a switch chip, because it's so powerful in a router. So we come down here and we hit All Models Comparison, and it's going to bring up this awesome spreadsheet that Ubiquiti has put together. And we can click this X and we can get rid of models. So we're going to drop the edge points out of here for a second. And this EdgeRouter 6, we're going to, once we get one of those, we're going to hook it up to an EdgeRouter 4, and we're going to do some benchmarking over IPsec. And I think you'll probably really like the results of that. So anyway, we're going to get rid of the big guy there, and we're going to get rid of the we'll get rid of the EdgeRouter lights, or the X's, and so we will leave the kind of the higher end EdgeRouters here. So the EdgeRouter 4, how does it compare? It has 4 1 GHz CPU cores, and the rest of the routers only have 2, and that includes the EdgeRouter 8 and the EdgeRouter Pro 8. The EdgeRouter Pro 8 does run at 1 GHz, and it's got 2 gigs of RAM, and the EdgeRouter 8 also has 2 gigs of RAM. EdgeRouter Lite, EdgeRouter 5 PoE are down at 512, and you can see that the EdgeRouter 4 has 4 gigs of storage, and you can see the MSRP is not, it's not that bad. So you're getting like EdgeRouter 8 performance at an EdgeRouter 5 PoE price. So if you're looking to move a lot of packets quickly, and then you can see that it has one SFP port. It does not have any SFP plus ports. The max power consumption is 13 watts with a standard AC input. And here we go. So when you're looking at 1518 byte packets, you got 4 gigabits of throughput and 320,000 packets per second. So it's not at that EdgeRouter Pro level, but it is much faster than the Lite and the 5. And then when you're looking at the 64 byte packets, it has a much higher throughput at 1.8 gigabits and 3.4 million packets per second. So you can go out, you can take a look at all this yourself, but we are logged into the interface, or we were logged in. And if you haven't looked at this 1.10 yet, it's a really good release. And you can see they moved this UNMS icon up here, and you can see UNMS is disabled. So if we had this hooked to a UNMS server, we should have some sort of a status indication there. Our toolbox is still all the same. Everything is pretty much still in the same place. They haven't really moved anything around. They've just improved upon the stability and the reliability, which I don't even know how you even get more reliable than what you know, Edge OS has been. But under system, they did add a few things. So let's see, they added this download support file. So I guess they added this one thing. They added the download support file, but they tell you the downloaded support file might contain sensitive information such as passwords, details about your network. Make sure you share it with only trusted third parties. So now if someone requests the support file, you can get that right here. Other than that, this looks like it's you know, pretty standard stuff from what we're used to. So overall, I think that this device is going to be fantastic. It's going to be an awesome addition to the line, and I know for IPsec throughput, this thing is going to be a monster. And so that's what we're going to test. So when that EdgeRouter 6 is available and we can do a video on that, we're going to take those guys, we're going to put a VPN between them, we're going to test them. So real quick, the last thing I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to run an internet speed test. I'm not going to do any iPerf or anything like that tonight. We will wait until we get that IPsec tunnel up and going, and we're going to do OpenVPN with this too. Since this guy's got a little bit of a better processor and a little more memory, we'll set up our private internet access on it and see how that works out for us. So real quick, we're going to hop over to fast.com and we'll run a speed test. Actually, we're going to use speedtest.net. Alright, we're going to go ahead and click go there. And 20 millisecond ping time, and you can see that we are cruising at almost 100 megabits a second. We're hitting 90. I'm supposed to have 150 megabits down, but I've also got gamers in the house, so that could be affecting that at this time. And let's see, ooh, the upload, I'm only supposed to have like a 20. Yeah, so it's throttling down, but it's still sticking around that 20 mark, so I will definitely take that. So that's your first look at the EdgeRouter 4. As you can see, it's just as easy to configure as any other EdgeRouter, but it does have some real hardware advantages, and the size, it has some real size advantages. Plus you have this nifty mounting bracket where you can mount this guy in a 1U, you know, in a 1U space in a rack. You don't have to use an awkward shelf. I really like that. But you know, thank you for being here. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Please subscribe. Please comment and share. Go out and check out our Discord server. The link's down there. Please, you know, if you want an EdgeRouter 4, you can check out my Amazon shop that's down there. And you can also go to h5llc.com, sign up for the newsletter, And if you need consulting, you can also get a hold of us there. And as always, we'll see you in the next video.